Hey guys, today I'm bringing you my review of Game of Thrones Season 5, Episode 5. Wow, we're already at the halfway mark and there are only 5 more episodes left this season. It's been going by way too fast. And I know Season 5 is not over yet, but I think this will end up being the worst season of Game of Thrones. I know, and that's the thing, I wouldn't say overall it'll be, like, bad, like, oh yeah, the worst, but just compared to the other seasons, this will probably be the worst season. I'm not saying it's gonna be like terrible, like one of the worst seasons of any show ever, but like compared to Game of Thrones standards, I think it's gonna be the worst season because wow. This episode I was so looking forward to. I mean, last week's episode was great, minus a few small complaints I have had, and this episode, I know it's early, but this is the worst episode of season 5. I mean, honestly, this is the worst. Then probably I would put episode 2, then episode 1, then 3, and then 4. Like 4 being the best. And this was just, I didn't like this episode. Like 2, even I still would say 2 is an enjoyable enough episode, but it was a huge disappointment for me. And this episode, it looked so amazing, and yeah. Okay. As usual, I'm just only going to react. I'm not going to discuss every scene at length because, yeah. First of all, the stuff in Marine. Daenerys is finally opening the slaving pits. Like, I've been, like, seriously, she's been needing to do this for a while. It's like, you know what, she doesn't want bloodshed, yet she closed the fighting pits, and all this stuff with the Sons of the Harpy is happening. It's like, she had a simple solution for this whole season so far to reopening the fighting pits, and she was like, no, blah, and finally, she's opening them back up again, and finally, and she listened to Missandei's counsel about that, which I'm glad, and also, she's gonna be marrying hit star Zolorak, just like in the books, which, yay, I'm looking forward to that wedding. So yeah, other than that, there's really nothing else that happens in Marine, but Grey Worm is not dead. He's alive. I'm so happy Grey Worm's still alive. I thought he was dead last week, but he's well, which is good. So yeah. Really, I have nothing else to say about Marine, and I have to say, we've seen dragons more this season than any of the other seasons, like, combined. So yeah, it was great to see the dragons again. So yeah, and then the stuff at the wall. Basically, Jon is going with Tormund Giantsbane to Heartholm to get, like, the not White Walkers, the Wildlings on his side. Cool. And Stannis and his crew are leaving for Winterfell, which is awesome. And yeah, that's really all with the wall. I mean, I love the stuff at the wall, but really, like, when it comes down to it, that's really what happened there. So it was great. And of course, we get a little scene between Brienne and Pod, and Brienne basically gets this man, like, she and Pod are staying in an inn, and she gets one of the guys to a man working there or something to send a note to Sansa Stark, telling her, Sansa that she still has to protect her, which, great. So, yeah, there's really nothing else to say about that stuff. And the stuff at Winterfell was very interesting. I don't have a whole lot to say about this either, but Sansa finally sees Reek's, and it's honestly understandable why Sansa is still mad and why Sansa would never forgive Reek, Theon. I mean, we know that Theon didn't kill them, but still, like, I can understand why she would still be angry. So yeah. And it looks like next week's episode, Sansa and Ramsay are going to be married, and yeah. Also this episode just proved, I don't know, no, Miranda, Ramsay's, I guess whore, I would say, she's equally as fucked up as him, maybe just And I have to say, actually, no, I don't have anything to say about that. You know, so yeah. Also, one more thing. Roose Bolton's wife, Fat Walda, is pregnant, but yeah, Rams is gonna kill that kid because, you know. Actually, Roose Bolton was married before and he had a son, but his son died, and it was his legitimate son died, and it's like he's like, oh yeah, Ramsay killed him, and then like there's this whole little part in the book where Ramsay's like, oh yeah, Ramsay will kill any baby Walden and I have together, which is it's true. You know, I mean, he wants to remain the only heir, but Roose makes him a promise that if he defeats Stannis, then he will be he will be the heir no matter what, you know, so that'll be interesting to see. So yeah, really have nothing else to say about that. And then there's a little Sam and Gilly scene. I mean, I like Sam and Gilly. They're pretty cute together. They're cute together. I like them. But yeah, really don't have anything to say about that. It just was a nice scene. And now the last step with Tyrion and Jorah, they're still traveling, and we see the ruins of old Valyria, which, wow, that was great. I was not expecting to see that this season, but it was really cool to see it. And they're going through Valyria, and also they see Drogon flying, which is awesome. And basically they're attacked by stone men, but they both survive, thank goodness, and they find themselves on a little area, and they're still obviously making their way to Marine, but now they have to go another route. And then the last scene in this episode, Jorah's like feels something, and he looks down, and one of the stone men got him, and he has grayscale now, which is like, well, ugh, that freaking sucks, because now if Jorah's the one with grayscale, then that means, like, I had a tiny bit of hope that we would get Griff and young Griff, but now maybe we won't after all, because Jorah's getting something that happens to Griff, which is grayscale. So yeah, so now I'm like, well, Jorah's gonna die. So yeah. Yeah. I mean, they said they were killing off characters who weren't dead in the books, and they've already killed off Sir Barristan and Mance Rayder, and now, well, I think Jorah's gonna die. And honestly, after looking at next week's promo, now I'm like, oh no, they're gonna kill off Littlefinger. I think they're gonna kill off Littlefinger by the end of the season, and he can't die. He has to make it to the end. He has to. So yeah. Overall, really, this was the worst episode of the season for me. I mean, season 4's, episode 5 of season 4, like, was so great. Even though it was, like, a slower episode, like, a lot of revelations happened in that episode. We learned that Littlefinger was the mastermind of everything. We learned that the Lannisters don't shit gold. It was a great episode, and then this episode 5 was just like, no, it's the worst episode of the season so far. It's not, like, terrible. I'd probably give this episode, like, a 2.25 out of 5 stars. I'd probably give this episode. I mean, it's not terrible, it's just not good. And there were enjoyable things in this episode, but just overall, I was extremely disappointed. But next week's episode, amazing. We're gonna get stuff in King's Landing, so we're gonna get Olenna. Yay! I'm so excited to see her again. We're gonna get Littlefinger. We're gonna get Arya. What else are we getting? And we're gonna get the stuff at Winterfell, which is next week. Sansa and Ramsay are getting married. And book readers, you know what? Obviously, Ramsay married someone else in the books, like the Arya Stark. It was really Jane Poole, a friend of Sansa. But obviously, Jane Poole isn't a character in the show, so it makes sense that they gave it to Sansa. But book readers, you all know what we already know, that Ramsay's a sick fuck. But oh my gosh, it's gonna be It's gonna be crazy, and the stuff that Ramsay's gonna do in the future is gonna just show how crazy he really is. I mean, we already know, but it's gonna make him even more freaking crazy. So yeah. Really, this was a very disappointing episode. I didn't like it. It's the worst episode of the season so far, but there are still 5 more episodes left of this season. It can be redeemable. Oh yes, also we're gonna get Doran and Tristan and Marcella and the Sand Snakes again next week. Hopefully the Sand Snakes actually, I start liking them because I love them in the books, but so far the show has not done them justice at all. So yeah. So what are your thoughts on this episode? Like I said, it's the worst episode of the season so far for me. 2.25 out of 5 stars. Very disappointing, but the next 5 episodes, please be great. Please be great. So, yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.